Part of the walk to the clothes shops. Would you please welcome from Off the Rails, Pamela Flood and Caroline Moran, ladies and gentlemen.
One of my favourite songs there, thanks for that.
Yes, we heard you were coming on tonight, so we thought we'd make a little effort. As you have done. Thank you so much. Lovely to see you both.
And you.
How the devil are you all?
Terribly well, actually.
Yeah, pretty busy, but good.
Yeah.
You're, to start at your first kind of entrance into the world of, you know, the public eye, as it were, Pamela, you were Miss Ireland, which I just mentioned there.
Yes, I was. 120 years ago
120
now.
years ago. Isn't it funny how time passes by
It is,
so
it just
swiftly?
whizzes by.
But do you look back at that time now with horror or with a certain amount of happiness?
Absolutely not. I look back in horror at how I looked at the time, because it's 12 years ago. And obviously fashion changes and makeup changes.
12 years ago as well.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No, when a woman says another woman's a fox, she doesn't mean it.
Oh, no, she does.
No.
She does.
Well, it probably is true.
There's this mutual appreciation society going on here anyway.
Well, we'll let the viewers decide, because we have a lovely picture of you from 12 years ago, which is the nature of our programme, of course.
Good
And there she is, Miss Ireland,
fox?
1976.
Shall we?
No, that's very nice. It's lovely.
The only thing I can say is I think I resemble a drag queen better than any other girl ever did.
That's
The
so
makeup is
completely
horrendous. All done by me. I can't blame anyone else for that. That was my own handiwork.
Great, and it looks like you borrowed Brian Kerr's scarf there. And
I did.
I'll just
I
whack that
did.
on just for a little bit of
Yeah,
Irishness.
a little bit of Irishness.
They'd love that. But I mean, you know, obviously that's a long time ago. The fashions have moved on. But you had a good time
I
in
had
that
a
time.
ball. I absolutely loved it. I had an amazing year.
And Caroline, your start into the real world. I didn't know you were in Fair
I'd say
City.
I'm petrified as to what photograph you're going to pull out.
Do you know what? In fairness, you should be. I had no.
I'm just sitting here going,
Yeah.
photo over, get the photo over.
Oh, good. So you want us to get it over with?
Absolutely.
Let's milk it. I didn't know you were in Fair City. How old were you when you were in Fair City?
I was about 15, and yeah, one little baby.
You were.
And it was a walk-on part initially. That was what I auditioned for. Was just one scene, and the character was just such a little weapon that they wrote it in for the rest of the year.
She was like nasty, sort of.
Nasty.
And a bully or unpleasant, and
Just vindictive little cow, really, is probably the best way of putting
clearly
it.
life never imitated art.
No.
And the picture of you as a young 15-year-old is the one we're going to show now, just to kind of remind us all of young
Can't be
Caroline
any
Moore.
worse than mine, babe.
That's her on the left.
I've seen that scowl on a bad day. I've seen that.
Look at you! Look, she can't even look at herself. Look at yourself. Look at yourself.
Can I just point out that
Yeah.
I'm chewing them? That's what my face looks like. I've swallowed a balloon.
But again, you look back and go, "I'll get you later," or that was quite good fun at the time.
It was great fun. Now, Fair City, the schedule is unbelievable, and I really am very much in awe and admire the actors who are working on it now, because it's even a heavier workload than it was then.
But you were there. Your character was pretty, as you said, a weapon. She wasn't a nice girl.
No.
But did that follow you out onto the street or in school? Or I mean,
Yeah, sadly it did, because like I'm 28 now, so that's a good while ago, and at the time that was sort of pre-Boyzone, and it was pre sort of people being used to seeing people on television that were Irish. So what happened was people couldn't separate my character from who I was. So I'd be walking around in my school uniform, and someone would shout some sort of nasty comment, and I'd be going, well, that was a little uncalled for. And it was literally because they'd see what I did on the programme, and then they'd think that I'm out there doing that.
But that would only be school children, obviously. It wouldn't be
Sadly,
adults.
no. Adults who you'd think would know better. When I was in school, like, my friends were fine, and, you know, it was the same. There was no difference. People that didn't know me, there was a bit of a kind of, oh, she must think she's great. Like, they just presumed, because I was working and sort of in a visible medium, that I must be conceited. And some of the teachers were the same. And
Teachers?
Yeah.
What did they say to you?
Well, they just kind of go, like, I had this, it was actually quite slick. I had this sort of open policy where I, you know, in terms of homework, if I got it done, great, and if I didn't, you know, she was working, kind of thing. And some of them would go, oh, you've graced us with your presence today, Miss Moore, and sort of just nasty little jibes. which was unfortunate, but, you know.
But that's behind you now, Caroline. You've
Yeah.
moved on to a different thing. And Pamela, you know, talk about your programme, which I do watch, curiously
Good
enough.
man.
I sit there going, no way, that's nice, no way, and all that. But did you...
Do we have a clip of when Ryan was on our programme?
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see.
Do you know what? That's why I'm
Just
sitting here,
skirts
because
that
the
one
answer
over.
is no.
Funny enough.
And clearly things didn't work out. But the body image thing, which is so important for women, I mean, Pamela, just looking and reading, it's all about weight, it's Weight Watchers, it's losing weight, it's all trying to look like the girls in the magazines, that kind of thing. I mean, for example, look at you, a Slim Jim sort of thing. Do you work out? Do you have a regimented diet? I mean, you look like somebody who has all of these things.
Well, to be honest, no, I don't work out. I attempted the mini marathon in June, and that was 2 months prior to that I was training for it, and that's the last bit of exercise I've actually done. But I do watch my diet. I am quite careful about that.
Okay.
But
There's a lot of
no,
women
I don't
watching
really
going,
exercise.
well, she doesn't work out, does she?
She has
Because we
skinny
literally
jean,
we
I
run
think.
around from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Even though it's only a half-hour program, but it's such a full and busy week, isn't it? It's full on and it's go, 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 and we spend so much time tearing around the
So that's how you keep your figure. And Caroline, you repeatedly have said in interviews that it doesn't matter if you're not a size 8, you just get on with it, whatever you have, you
Isn't
have
it
to
so
offer.
boring that, like,
It is a bit boring.
people... He's like, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not sorry.
It's just... It's kind of ludicrous because when I was a teenager, I used to, you know, pore over all the fashion magazines. Nothing much has changed. And, you know, love looking at the clothes and then feel really awful about myself because I wasn't 5'11" and I wasn't size 8. I never will be. And I think, like, in reality, you know, people don't particularly... No one really thinks that that is attainable and real, but yet it's turned out there as being the norm, and it really isn't the norm. Like, first of all, the images you're looking at of women in magazines are computer generated anyway, like, aside from just the kind of touch-ups, a lot of the time you're looking at the legs of one person and the abs of someone else, and they morph them all together for their campaign. Like, I remember hearing the former editor of Cosmopolitan saying we had the same sort of cleavage on the magazine for 2 years. It was one model they just used.
Replace the heads.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of ghoulish.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, it is a bit.
So, I mean, it's nonsensical to try and look like that and want to be that because
Yeah.
it is.
But you did at one
fabrication.
point say, I wish I had that. Did you? I mean, did you aspire to that and then decide, nah, forget it, that's stupid?
Well, yeah, when I was a teenager, I was like, yeah, I'd love to sort of have slim legs and a flat stomach and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got over it.
Oh, clearly. And I mean that for the right reasons.
No, she knows you meant it
By
for
the
the
way,
right
meant that
reasons.
for-
I
It's
caught you,
fine.
I think, on the cheek on your right
Let's
hand
keep
side.
going.
No, you've a mark on your. I'm just other
Thank
side.
you. Other side.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline.
Makeup artist is probably going.
Let's
"Get him,
bring
get him,
to
shame."
let's keep going, girls. The next part of the question, which is, you know, you talk about teenagers and body image. Kate Moss, right?
Yeah.
You know, villain or pursued like by the hounds. I mean, where Pamela? You know, okay, caught on camera doing the coke thing.
Each to their own. You know, you answer to your own God at the end of the day, and I definitely think pursued. I really, really do.
You felt she
I
was
think they
hunted?
were absolutely hunted. Yeah. She's going to live
I
her
have to
life. She's
say,
going
I'm
to do what she
delighted.
has to do or wants to do.
Even if
You
that
know,
means
she's
shoving that up
answerable
her
to her
nose.
own conscience and her own God at the end of the day. And I do think, you know, especially since she got with Pete Doherty, that they've just been hounding her, knowing they're going to get something,
Yeah.
bound to get something. I just think each to their own.
Is she
you
a
know,
role model?
Unwittingly
wouldn't
she is,
consider
I
her a role model.
Pamela, what do you think? I mean, here she
I
is.
think
hunted.
it's appalling for a start, but I think I'm
What's
actually.
appalling?
Well, the fact that she is a role model for a lot of women without her setting out to be that. She's a model, but it's, you know, in the 80s, 90s, and now, you know, they've definitely switched shoes with the sort of movie stars of old. They have now become the ideal where, you know, the Ava Gardners and Marilyn Monroes of old were the sort of, you know, icon and pinnacle of what it was to be glamorous and all of that.
Sure.
And models have fulfilled that role. But the thing is, with Kate Moss, although she said, leave me alone, it's my personal life, her personal life is in every magazine and every paper constantly. So I think I would really applaud the various fashion houses that scrapped her from their campaigns, because the message they would send otherwise is that it's cool to do drugs, and
So
it
you have
isn't.
no sympathy for her whatsoever.
I've a huge amount of sympathy for her. I mean, it's an awful situation to be in. And a previous supermodel, Karen Mulder, who I don't know what's happened to her. I think the heavies kind of got to her and silenced her, because about 4 or 5 years ago, she tried to sort of emphatically let people know what was happening in fashion and that girls are not eating and they're doing drugs to stay thin and all of this, and she was silent. So now having it visibly on page 1, it has to be addressed and it has to be taken up.
Fair enough. I want to ask you about Irish men. Because there are many of us on this island, and looking at some of the audience tonight, God help us all. You know, they're a nice bunch, but let's face it. Do you rate the Irish male's sense of fashion, Pamela? Is the Irish man, and don't give me some of them are nice, and some of them are horrible. Bang on the line.
I'm going to sit on the fence here. I'm going to say that I think the Irish men, compared to other European men, are probably not as interested in fashion, or just not that keen on fashion as the rest of Europe.
Yes.
But I think that there's something far more interesting about Irish men than other European men that I've met. There's so much more personality. I don't think fashion matters that much to them. And I don't think it has to.
Yes.
I don't think it has to matter. You know, if there's two guys here and one is incredibly brilliantly dressed and the other one has the incredible, brilliant personality, you're going to want to spend time with the incredible personality.
Do you agree, women in the audience?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, if he's in a jumper 7 days a week, it's fine, you know.
Is it really?
Yes, it is a personality thing. It really is.
Meanwhile, on to Caroline Moran, who says...
Send
more
him
scathing.
home. That's all I can say. No, I think Irish guys, I mean, there's a very divided camp between those who don't care and those who care too much.
Yes.
And there's nothing sort of less attractive than a guy who's actually spending more time than you getting ready. You know, I wouldn't sort of go for the Italian school of thought, which is sort of, you know, molto wax
2 hours on the hair.
moisturizer. But I mean, like, we're actually doing an item on Wednesday's programme about dressing for guys. So guys, tune in.
Tune in.
You don't have to.
Here's a question. Can Irish men buy clothes for their partners, women? Oh.
Have you seen Passion Fashion? Some of them get it
That's
quite...
hit and miss.
They kind of get it right, and then others you're going... Sometimes
Some of them
the girl
trying to-
picks the
the boy-
manky
the bo-
outfit
Yeah.
and
The
you're
boy's
going,
trying to dress his girlfriend like his mammy. What about... which is a bit weird, isn't it? Women in the audience, can Irish men buy for you? No. That's a yes, then. That's a resounding no, and you're agreed with that.
It's an emphatic no.
Look, I got you
think-
this for Christmas. Great, you're going to receive with that.
I think clothes are so personal
Yeah.
that really, even
Okay.
your best friend in the world won't necessarily find something that's right for you, and your best friend basically, you know, knows
Okay,
what you
it's
like. But
it's like making tea. It's just too personal.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, yes or no in terms of... I'm going to throw a few ladies' items, girls, women, ladies' fashion items at you now. Not
gonna
physically.
catch
bras and things.
My drawers aren't big enough. What I'm going to do is throw a couple of suggestions at you about fashion items that are all the rage now, and I want you to, between you, to decide yes or no. Okay, it's a straightforward vote. Boho chic, bohemian chic, yes or no? Last season, this season, next season.
I think it's last season. It's
Last.
So
Sienna
that's gone.
Miller.
You wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
that's the
it's
question,
gone.
really.
Finished.
Okay, Sienna Miller, she's that whole boho chic.
Yeah.
And look what that got her. Okay.
Indeed.
Gypsy skirts.
See, I personally love them.
Yes, but would you wear one now?
I was wearing one about a month ago. It's a
Yeah,
little
but
bit
would you wear
cold
one now, this month?
Yeah, actually, I would. Yes, I would.
Would you have to be hungover to wear? What, like, why?
I am hungover.
Caroline, gypsy skirts.
The floor length, yes. Tiered, no.
Say. Okay.
Specifics.
The military look, Pamela, yes or no?
I love the military
You love it,
look,
that's
yeah.
in for you.
Perennial, it keeps going back, so yes.
Keeps coming back to yes. Okay, the Edwardian blouse, that's quite prevalent around the place.
fussy.
I'd say yes.
You'd say
With
yes.
simple jeans,
I
yes.
say no. I think it's better younger, for slightly younger girls.
slightly
I think,
younger
yeah.
thing, okay.
Beyond 30, no. Forget
It's
about
kind of
it.
repressed chic, isn't it, really? Skinny jeans, tucked into the boots sort of
Yeah,
thing?
I got my first pair 2 days ago.
So
Yeah, I
you're
love
all
them.
into that. And what's it, skinny jeans? Yes,
I
no?
love them, but
Okay.
God did not bless me with the thighs.
Yeah, listen.
You had a pair on 3 days ago. They looked amazing.
They
Yeah,
looked
but I
amazing.
have my pull you in knickers on, you know.
I know we both wear the pull you in knickers.
I've never heard of pull you
It's
in
not
knickers.
pull you knickers. It's pull you in knickers. It's kind of tucks in the belly and
Oh,
sorts out the
girls,
thighs.
they
and,
are miracle
yeah.
workers, that's all I'm going
It's
to say.
cheating, but whatever. Yeah.
Well, do you want me to leave and you can discuss it with the women? Okay, cowboy boots.
No, I
Never
never
liked them.
liked them.
Okay.
No, never.
So there's all these people at home going, oh, on the gypsy skirt, you know, ironing, going, oh.
Bonfire.
So leave it on it and walk away. Okay. And you tell us what what are you wearing tonight, just for the people to just for some people are curious to know, like, actually, tell us what you're wearing, like the shoes, where'd you get it, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I check that out for a match, by the way. Isn't that unbelievable?
That's pretty good. Can we get
These are Karen Miller, and this is A-wear.
Yeah.
Isn't that unbelievable? So that's that. And then I'm in Did my bracelet get applause?
On this show, anything gets applause.
My top is from House of Fraser in Dundrum.
Well, the new place, of course, which is doing the rounds. And Pamela, do you want to mention whatever? Just out of curiosity, I suppose.
The shoes are Pied
What's this other thing going on here?
Isn't it dead feathers?
I say, very nice.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Love these shoes.
Okay, they're your lovely
I do have a
shoes.
thing for shoes. My jeans are Rockin' Republic, the coolest jeans of the season.
Okay, very good.
And the top is, I think it's Brian Thomas, I'm not sure. It's borrowed for the evening, it's not mine.
Okay, on loan, very good.
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about that. Now, I know that you're doing a New York special, which sounds really, really good.
Yes.
When is that going to be on TV?
We're going over on the 6th of November, so towards the end of November.
You're going to love that, aren't you?
It's going to be crazy because we've got a whole week in New York filming, then we come back and it's Off the Rails live a week later.
Which is in what month?
November 18th to the 20th.
Yes, I was there once and I just saw a woman being sprayed with fake tan. I thought,
Yeah, the queue for that booth.
I know,
around
I know.
the
I got
place.
scared. In the meantime, wish you well for your careers and everything else. It's lovely to see you in and looking so well as you do, and it's always a pleasure to see you both.
Thank you very much.
Pamela and Caroline, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes' time. Join us then. Lots more to come.